NADA 2022. I'm here with Chris Martin from Client Command at NADA.
Paul,
How are you,
thank
Chris?
you. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on your show today.
Thank you. NADA. It's all about dealers, vendors doing business or learning of ways to improve their business. And let's face it, on everybody's mind, if you're a dealer today, inventory.
No doubt.
How do you get inventory? They say, oh yeah, buy it from your customers, buy it off the street. But there's no clear roadmap on how to do that. So I understand you guys have a little something to do with how that can help.
It's, and you're dead on. I mean, when we talk to dealers, and it's been the case for going on a year, if not before.
Yeah.
And it's a struggle. I mean, they are in search of new car inventory. They're in search of used car inventory. It is something that they're all competing against each other in a space that is a limited pool. There's only so many cars out there. And as we engage, one of the things that we know is that the data drives everything. And when we can identify through our active shopper network, really dig in and identify the consumers that are actually shopping to trade a vehicle, identify and connect and be able, instead of going after VIN marketing, which dealers have done for so long, and driving a customer to a stock image sitting there, we can actually engage and start to move them and go after people marketing.
Wait a minute. Did you say stock image? People actually still put stock images out there?
They just want to say that they have a car. It might even be in transit. They might not even have it, right? And that's just the realities of what dealers are facing today. What we want to do is instead of trying to get the car and then go out and just blast it to everyone, we want to actually take the individual that's shopping, put that individual in front of the dealer that actually has that vehicle. And it starts to change the game, because the other thing dealers are trying to do is become more efficient with their marketing. And
exactly.
I mean, they're dropping their ad spends, they're engaging and saying, I've got to do something different. It's a different market. I have to engage it different. And that's where we can really help them. We just met with a dealer and there were 40,000 people shopping in his market. 40,000. He's in a major metro. He's a smaller brand. 162 of those today are shopping for his brand. So that's where we can start to say, you don't need to be marketing to almost 42,000. Let's help you focus on just that 162 that are actually out there right now today.
Now, here's the beauty of it, okay? If you go fishing, you have a few different ways you can do this. You can get in the boat, you have all your bait and everything, and you just go out there, you throw it, you drop a line here, try a few hours, nothing, try a few hours there, nothing. But now, if you want to do it smart, you use a fish finder. So that electronically tells you where all the fish are. Now, what are your odds of bringing a fish onto the boat if you drop your line where all the fish are? So essentially, that's what you guys do.
That's exactly it. I mean, we are working with dealer groups across the country, dealerships across the country, in order to help them create that efficiency. As you said, instead of just throwing the net, how do we engage? How do we step in? And you might even be going after a certain type of fish. So how do we make sure?
So you can segment specific.
Exactly.
Like target, year, make, model.
Exactly. So we can go in and say the dealer really needs these trucks on his inventory. Ram, 1500 of 2016 to 2018 late model with under certain mileage, so we can start to engage and bring the data, can start to help us identify and bring that to the table.
Now, what's great about that is that computer issues need to be solved. Dealers have the software to be able to know what's hot in their market, right? It's not necessarily what I've sold out of my DMS, it's what's hot in the market. So in the past, you've always relied on the guru that knew what they sold or the historical data in the DMS.
Right.
But there are other models that for whatever reason they never had. Therefore, they don't have experience with it, but they could have a competitor across town that's crushing it in that model. If you don't have the data to support what everybody in the market's buying and you're only relying on your own information, you're going to miss a lot of targets. So by being able to now say, okay, so the market says all these cars are hot. Actually, today everything's hot. But there's going to be a time in the not too distant future where we're back to pre-pandemic,
Right.
where the age-old, oh, we don't have enough people coming through the door, inventory costs are choking us. Not now, not today.
Right.
But I envision that's going to come back at some point. So when do you sharpen your axe? When things are good or when they're bad?
Right. You've got to jump in, and that is what we're seeing dealers do across the country. They're saying, to your point, how do we sharpen the axe? How do we get better? How do we continue to drive the gross profits that we're driving? How do we continue to engage? And if I'm going to spend whatever the amount is, and every dealer's different, how do I make sure that is going to create additional and incremental and drive customers that I likely would not have seen?
Right.
And that's where dealers are here. They're looking for that solution in a sea of vendors, and it's hard to find. They can go to companies like yours to be able to really start to narrow that in and be able to engage in that. And then they can start to look and start to really engage in the technology and understand the ones that pay lip service and the ones that actually dive in and really engage in the technology to be able to see the individual, to be able to see the vehicle that they're currently driving, the vehicle that they're shopping, the vehicle that they aspire to be in, and really start to press in with a competitive advantage. And that's what we bring to the dealers. And that's why we're so excited to be at a show like this and talk about that and help dealers see those differences.
Now, there's certainly no substitute for experience. And you've been with this company, what, 15, 16 years?
Almost 19 years.
Oh, 19 years. Wow. I guess
Short timer. Yeah, exactly.
Well, what's great about that is that you've seen over the last 19 years, the trends that have come and gone. You've seen what doesn't work. You've seen what works. And obviously by staying with this company for as long as you have, you have a pretty clear vision as to what the company's message is. And if it wasn't a solid message, let's face it, like everybody else, you would have moved on.
Right.
So how does somebody get a hold of you or your company?
So you can reach us here at 6913 in the North Hall. We would love to see you here. We'll be here through Sunday. You can go to our website, clientcommand.com. Request a demo, engage with us, chat with us in that environment. We would love to have the opportunity to talk with some dealers, identify what's important to them, because right now we're seeing they're trying to cut budgets. They're looking for inventory. They're trying to shore up their fixed ops, and they're trying to figure out, how do I continue to get gross profit and maintain it? And then how do I get more inventory on the and so we can help them in any of those areas. And my guess is most of the dealers listening today are looking for one of those solutions as they visit NADA or talk with other companies.
Now, you brought up a very good point, fixed operations. So you tie into that as well, as far as
we do
strappers for service?
So identifying again, our active shopper network and being able to see the type of a consumer that engages with that dealer and being able to see who's out there. And then as well, we're able to see who's visiting the Jiffy Lube down the street, because a lot of what happens is the customer drives off the lot, they purchase a car, and then what do they do? First oil change, even if it's free through the manufacturer, they still go to Jiffy Lube because they perceive it's cheaper and they perceive it's faster.
Convenience and expense.
Exactly.
Those are two of the driving
And
factors.
it's usually not the case. The dealers typically with quick lanes and other things can get a customer in and out.
Yeah.
If it's just a works package or something as well, they can really start to identify and figure out, how do I get not only those customers back, but how do I capture the people that just moved in? Say you're in Austin, Texas, that area is booming. I was talking with a dealer in that market. He said, I'm measured by how many people with my brand in my market, I'm measured on that efficiency. How many of them are servicing with me? And I have so many people moving into my market that I can't keep up. So we help him go out, conquest those, get them into his store versus them going to Jiffy Lube or versus them going somewhere else, and helping him continue to engage and capture that market. So we can help them capture the conquest. We can help them capture the people that drove off the lot and they haven't come back in over 2 years.
Okay.
And then the ones that haven't been there in 5 years, they purchased or service, but they haven't been back. How do we help them capture those lost customers in order to get them back in?
With a 70% defection rate on service, according to a Cox Automotive study that I've seen.
Right.
You know, if an area is exploding, your best customer is your brand.
100%.
And all these people moving into the area don't know you because they didn't buy a car from you. But guess what? The data shows that a customer that completes their service cycle with a store, I think, is 5 times more likely to buy their next vehicle from that store, just based on the customer service experience they have with your service department.
100%. We were with the dealer last night that was talking about changing that experience, right? The wait lounge and what that entails and what that looks like. How do you create truly an experience? And dealers, knowing that now they're competing in this fixed ops world, and as EVs come in and all the different things, how do you really step into that space, and how do you create an experience that differentiates you from others? And the first thing is to get the customer there, and then make sure that you, as the dealer, can engage and create that experience. And we're working very closely with dealers because, to your point, I've seen that number as high as 8 times more likely if they're coming in and servicing regular. So the numbers, whatever stat is out there, and you know, the numbers are always
changing as we're having the conversation.
Exactly. And so as that happens, how do we help the dealer? How do we engage in that? And how can we play our part with the data advantage that we can bring the dealers? And that's what we want to do, because we're all in this business because it gets in your blood. You love it. You know, it's just something about the car business. And as we do that, it makes it fun to partner with great folks like you and great dealers that are out there in order to help them succeed and ride through challenges that are unprecedented and come out great in it. And that's what makes it fun.
Great. Well, Chris, thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you for the time.
Have a successful show, my friend.
Thank you. You too.